Feet on the earth, hearts in this moment. Let's begin.
Hey, I feel like we were just here.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, since the last episode, the air conditioning is fixed.
Yeah! Woo! Yay! And the printer's offline, so we're using our phones and emails to get the outline. So
Yep. So fun stuff.
fun stuff. Yeah, good times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the other things I was thinking about. So I am trying really hard to get away from AI because I'm not okay with the destruction of our planet. So for a minute I was really leaning into AI a lot to help with like these outlines and stuff. So I'm actually creating a template so that I don't have to, just run it all through Chat GPT.
Yeah.
I'll actually have a template to go to and I mean, I have all the information I need to do these things. I just got lazy. I think myself personally, I think I got a little lazy in using the Chat GPT instead of putting it together myself. So I'm trying to get back into putting the shit together myself, the information. I always try to tweak what they give me, right? Like we do that. We tweak it, we add a little bit, add personal stuff in there. So I've always done that. But now I'm gonna try to go from, the beginning to do that. So I'm working on that template for that. Let's see, what else am I doing? Well, I really am trying to get off of social media a bit. So yeah.
Yeah.
I know I talked to you a little bit about all the posting I was doing on all the different groups and like getting
Yeah.
No,
it's really frustrating.
it is frustrating and it takes up a lot of my time and a lot of my energy and I have to sit back and I have to go, okay, is this what I want to be doing? Is this, is this bringing me joy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know like the last episode we talked about like what we're harvesting and stuff like that. And yeah. So that's something that I'm really going to push myself to kind of get a little bit away from social media. I'm going to try to spend the time I do spend there. I want to make it more meaningful than it has been. Because, sometimes it's just that death scrolling that it's doom scrolling, right? That's just not productive and mentally or physically. So, so that's what's going on with me. So what's going on with you since the last time we spoke?
Well, my air conditioning got fixed. My stairs are also fixed now.
Oh yeah, that's very cool. I'm not going to fall through the deck.
Yeah. Listen, that is not. We knew when we bought the house, it needed to be done. Like it'll need to be redone. Our deck and our stairs. It's old. It needs to be redone, and we knew that. And we knew also there was a lot of things that are not up to code. So when we have to fix them, they have to then be brought up to code. We were not expecting the first quote we got. And this is like, we're literally just asking them to redo the stairs. And then instead of like take out the deck and then just put a platform by that door and then stairs down. Like we don't even want the full deck. 30 frame. 30. Because like they have to put stabilizers in because like it wasn't put incorrectly before. So
or it was and they just want to redo it because they get more money that way. You don't know. It probably wasn't. But
yeah, the house, a lot of things were not.
Have you got more than one quote? Or is that just the first one you got?
That's just the first one I got. I'm getting another one Tuesday. And we'll see. But at least now it's, not falling apart. Because, what happened is like they didn't put in the joists on like half the deck. Well, when all their little screws that they put in rusted because water hits there a lot.
Because that's what happens when wood expands and cracks.
And so that's starting to like do the sinking in and stuff. But then I was noticing because of that, like towards the bottom of the steps up to our apartment, like the stairs, a couple of the stairs had like come out. John like immediately put them back when he realized it and screwed it in good. But like, we're like, this is
this problem.
Yeah, but at least it's good for now. It's solid. It doesn't look pretty, but it's solid.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing price. That's a good way to buy.
Yeah, it's expensive, man.
All right. So you have any funny pet stories?
Me?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. yesterday, me and Nuclear mowed the lawn.
Was he helpful?
We now have
Goggles.
Goggles.
That's right, you bought him goggles.
we got a little goggles and a little sun hat. And then I found a sun hat that finally fits, like one that fits my head, but it is huge. Like the brim of this floppy hat, like goes out to like here.
Whatever, if it works.
We were protected from the sun.
That's good.
And then he was in his little baby Bjorn, and I put a little ice pack between me and him because it was hot out. He actually was really comfortable. Like he only even like started panting a little bit towards the end because the ice pack like warmed up.
Yeah, nice. So the kids were here for a visit, and so Winnie the Blue, my little gray kitty, she likes to jump on your back. So like when Sam's in the kitchen at the kitchen counter, she'll jump from our millie, our compost thingy, and she'll jump from there onto his back. She's always, as soon as she learned how to jump, that was her thing. If she's on the couch and he's like standing, usually with his plate of food, she jumps from the couch on his back. So that's what she does. Well, so my kids were visiting. My son-in-law was downstairs doing laundry, and he came up the stairs and he was like, "Oh my God, she scared the hell out of me." And I was like, "What happened?" And he's like, "The cat. He's doing laundry, and all of a sudden she jumped on it." Cat. She scared the tail out of it. He scares easy though. We love scaring him because it's like it doesn't matter how many times you hide behind the door, he will jump every fucking time.
Yeah.
He'll every fucking time. So yeah, so it's pretty funny. So that's my funny pet story.
I tend to be like that too.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. So that's my funny pet story.
All right. So today's topic is behavior and handling.
So I pulled the devil card. Shadow self, attachment, addiction, sexuality, excess, materialism, temptation, destructive patterns, and obsession.
I feel like that fits.
There's a toxic person or pattern in your life. And for pet groomers, entanglement, severe matting, difficult habits, and toxic clients come up. So yeah, so I definitely think that definitely fits with behavior and handling.
Yeah, it sure does.
All right.
So behavior and handling. So what do we even mean by behavior? Yeah, people often think behavior is like obedience, how much they listen to us. But historically, behavior has always been viewed as something to control the behaviors. But modern animal behavior has shifted toward communication
instead of compliance.
Yeah, which, we've really taken that to we've really gone that route here as far as the way we're teaching more just understanding the dog and why they're doing the things they're doing so that we can work with them instead of making them fit into our.
And not just the animals, but our groomers.
Yeah.
Like you do a great thing working with the groomers and where they're at. Meeting the groomers where they're at instead of, making the groomers, come to you, as far as like, nope, you gotta be this person to do this job. No, you can be that person and still do this job. So yeah, it's very, I think it's your school is very cool.
I feel like a lot of schools historically have been very like, if you don't have it in you, then you're not doing it.
Right. The school I went to, it was kind of like, this is the box. And if you don't fit in the box, figure out how you're gonna fit in the box, or you're not gonna succeed.
Yeah.
And we did see a lot of students fail or drop out because they could fit into the box. And now, so I've been grooming 3 decades, more than 3 decades now. So I went to school 30 some years ago, and I seen that shit then. I went back to that same school to be an instructor just 15 years ago. It hasn't really changed. Unfortunately, it's kind of still that same mentality of, you got to come to us. We're not coming to you. And I seen a couple students struggle. I've seen one dropped out because she couldn't. And I feel like you weren't here yet.
No, I wasn't.
But it was like, when I first met you and learned about your school, I thought of that student.
Yeah.
And how this would have been a better fit for her. I don't know where she's at or what, if she's ever started grooming or just wants in a totally different direction. But it just made me always think of her that this would have been to fix her.
Yeah.
If she wanted it, this would have been a better fit.
Yeah. No, as long as you want it,
Yeah.
I think anybody, like, it's gonna be a different capacity. They're gonna have different styles. Yeah. And that is all valid. But I think anybody who wants to would be it.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
but yeah. So,
The dominance.
yeah, when did you start hearing of dominance theory?
Well, I heard it early on, and surprisingly, so the dominance theory is like, I'm the alpha,
Yeah.
right? So if the dog is growling, I want to get in there and growl louder. One of the things I learned, like if a dog is being difficult, that you roll them over on their back
And make them submit.
you make them submit, and you like get in their faces, and and you just no, and that's what I learned, and felt horrible, it felt icky, but it was like that's what I learned. You want to teach them how to stand on the table, you get above them, and you make them stand on the table, and you hold them down, and it's just it's shitty, it's just shitty, and I'm so grateful that because there's still groomers out there that they believe in this. They still do this. And I'm so thankful that they're a minority.
Mhm.
They're definitely a minority in this field.
Yeah.
I would love for them to be non-existent completely, but at least they're a small group. But I remember even back in, what year was it when 16, 17, 18, somewhere around there, being in a salon and there being a groomer that actually did that dominance thing to a dog. And I was like, it just blew me away.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, let's not be doing that. That's not the way
Mhm.
you want to treat these animals with respect, and that's not respect.
Yeah.
That's not how you get them. And here's the thing I learned back in grooming school when we would have the dog's difficult for a nail trim, I'm going to help you. And then somebody else is going to help you. And pretty soon you got 6 pairs of hands on one dog to get the nails trimmed.
Alternate or straight.
They're never good. Like that never fixes the problem.
Mhm.
They're going forward. You're always going to need 6 pairs of hands to do that nail trim because that's all they know. And they're going to fight harder the next time. So you're never fixing the issue.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is making this whole experience just more horrific, more traumatizing for the animal.
And like, it's funny, like thinking about it. So the dominance theory, I obviously don't agree with it, but I see where it came from.
Absolutely.
Because like there, because I think we could all agree there's a lot of genetics that are involved in behavior.
Well, you watch how mother dogs reprimand their puppies. They bite their necks and they knock them down. Same with cats, So that's, I can see where it came from too.
Yeah. And like, there are still a lot of like instinctual things where like, we still talk about like, you have to be the leader.
Absolutely.
Which is
right, especially if you have a strong dog.
We're seeing it in a different way now, but it was still in that same realm of like, the dominance, you have to be the alpha. Now it's just, you have to be the leader. So,
that's why I will never, like, there's a lot of breeds out there that I don't think should be pushed as like in the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of breeds out there that they need very specific handling, and not everybody's cut out for that kind of handling.
Yeah.
If the dog is stronger than you and you can't assert yourself as the leader, that dog is going to walk all over you. It could hurt somebody. It could hurt you. It could get itself.
Even if it's just not walking all over you, it'll look at it as you're not being the leader. So
right.
I have, like, someone has to be the leader.
Yep. Yeah.
And so, there is a reason for where the dominance theory came from, but they just took it in a whole different direction. And, sometimes you have to be, some dogs you have to be more firm with than others. I'm not going to treat Nibbler the sick. Well, I might treat. I'm not going to treat
on his back.
Yeah, that's a joke. Like, I'm not going to treat like a little Maltese the same way as I'm going to treat a German Shepherd or an Akita or a livestock guardian dog. Like, they all get treated differently. You know, I actually was on TikTok recently. I saw there was a lot of discourse about this trainer that he he's in England and he has this Labrador named and I will say I don't know much about there. Apparently, there's some more like backstory behind him, but the thing that people are upset about is that he had his Labrador Retriever out in what is about 84-degree weather for us. It's just in England and
Yeah,
in Celsius.
yeah.
But like about 84 degrees, they were outside, like running around and doing training.
Okay.
And that's abuse because it's so hot.
Okay. I'm not
So-
gonna. I'm not giving an opinion because I don't know that dog or.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My favorite was I saw one response and it was this guy, he had a picture of his Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. And he was saying, if your dog can't get through because like the guy, like the trainer is like, he has a lot of energy. He needs to get it out.
Get it out.
Like if it's hot out, like,
Yeah,
but we're,
but-
we're doing the things to keep him cool.
Yeah.
And he's like, if your dog can't, handle can't get through the day with more than a couple potty trips and an enrichment toy, then you need to do more training. And I'm like, sir, there's a big difference between a Cavalier,
which
King
is one of the
Charles
laziest
Spaniel.
fucking dogs.
Yeah, because
Which makes them amazing. If I was ever going to have a spaniel, that's the one it would
well,
be.
yeah,
They're
'cause they
so
were
chill.
they were bred to literally sit on laps all day.
Right. Such chill dogs.
So yeah, they don't need more
Right.
than a couple
mean, like,
potty breaks
right.
and an enrichment toy.
Right.
But that's not a lab.
Not a lab.
Like,
so-
and
well, that's like the people that when they have huskies and it's 2 degrees outside and their
people are
huskies
losing
are
their
outside
shit.
and they're losing their shit because oh my god they're gonna freeze to death. Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. If
Have you met a husky
it's a little
before?
cool. It's a little cold, and you might want to give them shelter. Maybe not leave them out all night, but they probably won't freeze to death.
Yeah.
Like that's their makeup. That's
Exactly.
yeah.
And yeah, so many people just don't seem to get that.
I'm not going to exercise my dog in 84-degree weather because I'm not going to be out in 84-degree weather. But
I'm also not going to have a lab. That's why I get I get breeds that are meant for my lifestyle instead of their lifestyle. They can go out in 80-degree weather and exercise their dog. I don't want to.
right.
But I'm also not going to call that abuse.
I have to assume, because I try to presume goodwill, I have to assume that a trainer, and until they show me something seriously wrong, that they're doing, they work with animals because they love animals. Not because they want to torture animals. Not because they want to harm animals.
Well, and a little bit of
I like to think that they have a little bit of knowledge of breeds and, and this is my dog. And maybe not every lab should be exercised in 84-degree weather, but my dog is fine being exercised in 84-degree weather.
Well, their dog is and what I did see on their page, there wasn't anything like that. I was like, oh yeah, that's abuse. I mean, I didn't even see anything that I was like, oh, that was really firm.
I've seen people bash Caesar Milan as abusive, and it's like, I watched his shows. There's stuff on there that I don't necessarily know that was necessary, but I don't see it as abusive. I don't see him doing anything. I watched.
I think he needs to stay away from the grooming world.
Well,
he needs to shut his mouth on how to groom dogs.
Don't get me started. Because I see that in all these trainers that have opinions on grooming, and it's like, shut the fuck up. That's not your lane.
Yeah.
But I watched this. I watched somebody in our little town who's a professional, training, and I watched her smack dogs.
Yeah.
And like physically just be really aggressive. And I thought, that's how you train. And I remember I was waiting because I just worked for her. I was watching her train a dog and waiting to get picked up. And as soon as my husband picked me up, I'm just like, we will never, ever use her. Now, granted, she trained there's different types of training too, and the type of training she did was Schutzhund training, which is, I think it's a lot of aggressive dog training, action and stuff.
Yeah.
you know, we've never had a dog that we were going to train like that anyways, but I just thought that just show, even that, like, really, you'd have to feed them?
Yeah.
Feed them to do, like, is that really fucking the way it works? I don't know. I don't know.
Like,
An old mindset, I guess.
yeah, and like with Caesar Milan, like what I saw him do when I was younger, it was very on brand for that time. You know, he was definitely like he was in that like dominance theory kind of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
But
So
like
be the alpha. Be the
Yeah.
alpha.
And like I did learn things from him, but I also like I haven't seen what he's doing now. Like for all I know, he's evolved his training
Maybe.
with the times.
Maybe.
Like
Well, I hope so. That's the other thing. You know, is I think it was Maya Angelou who said, you know, when we know better, we do better.
Yeah.
Or something like that. You know, so when we get more information, we should be changing, you know, the way we do things. You know, I used to scruff every cat, scruff it, you know, muzzle it, put a muzzle on it. I remember a period of muzzling and with the muzzles that, you know, cover the faces, because that was the only cat muzzle you have, right? It's, you know, you don't want them to bite you, so you put this muzzle over them. You know, and learning that
you were actually making it worse.
I was actually making it worse, you know, and the whole scruffing thing, you know, like a lot of times, not every cat needs to be scruffed. You know, I mean, I have cats that I scruff to get shit done, you know, like they're getting feisty and I just need to get this mat off.
Yeah.
I will fucking scruff a cat and get the mat off, because like it or not, that mat needs to come off for safety, for comfort. And it's going to take me, you know, 10 seconds to do it.
Yeah.
You're going to live through this scruff for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then we're done. You know, and everybody goes home. And
but if it was a cat that like had that for where you had to scruff him and hold him down for the whole thing, you wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it. No, I would definitely not do it. No, that is not who I am. You go to the vet. So, I had somebody reach out for grooming and they said, this cat's not nice. It's like, well, you know what? If I can't do it, then it's going to a vet.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to refer it anywhere else.
Yeah.
If you tell me it's going to be feisty, if I'm going to get a feisty cat, you know, and I've had cats that are a little spicy, and I can go, you know, Megger Stephanie might be able to handle this, and then your call. But I also have cats where it's like, no, I wouldn't put this on anybody. Yeah. You need to take this cat in. This cat definitely needs something. We're not talking about just a little cranky. We're talking about a cat that is literally lunging. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not gonna refer you to a friend of mine. Yeah. I would refer you to an enemy of mine. Just strong food. Yeah.
Yeah. So where did handling techniques come from? So yeah, a lot of it was influenced early livestock handling. I mean, yeah, when we were first like really making dogs what they are, that was why they were hanging out with us. They were helping us with the livestock. And so that's how we knew how to handle animals. Yeah. Military and police dog influence, which definitely I think tends to bring out that like alpha theory stuff a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah. There's specific breeds. They don't just pick out any breed to be, you know, you don't see a lot of Chihuahuas in the military, right? Yeah. There's a reason, even though they probably be pretty fucking good at taking care of it. There's a reason.
They'll do it quietly.
Right. Yeah, they are very sneaky. But there's a reason why they choose the Malinois and the Shepherds to be good dogs.
Yeah. I mean, they also like they're bred for that. They have a lot more of that instinctual like behaviors already. So, and then traditional grooming, the way, you know, it used to be, it was, again, they didn't really know better. They were going by what they could figure out, and things have changed. And veterinary restraints, I know I got taught a lot of the veterinary restraints when I was first starting, because they was like still in that time of like, we're going to get this done kind of thought process.
A lot of that, the veterinary restraints, it's not conducive for me, right? Like, you know, your arms are in places where I need to clip.
Yeah.
So you're not helping, right?
Yeah.
So while I appreciate
more restraint, a lot of times stresses them out more.
Right.
And if you want longevity with the dogs, like you have to make it. Yeah. So you don't want to freak them out. Like you don't want to traumatize them, because then it's just going to get harder each time. So why speed often became more important than experience. Yeah. I mean, I think for a long time, we weren't charging what we were worth either. So we had to do more dogs, and it was kind of like, just get it done.
And that's still unfortunately a lot of mindset. Like, I got to get 10 dogs done today and I've got 8 hours to do it. So, we're looking for all the shortcuts and, that's why we get a lot of cage drying, which I'm not down in cage drying. I think cage drying, yes, it has a place.
But
But
that
I
opens
remember,
up.
I remember being in grooming school and we were at a salon and we would go in to get our what do they call it, field trip.
Yeah.
And we went to a salon and we were watching them with a weed just
Oh boy.
full on, just in the cage, just drying completely in the cage. And it was like, and it's like,
Probably
that's,
losing his shit.
that's not how we learned. That's
Yeah.
not what we're learning at school. But yet here we are, being in a shop and that's what they're doing. And it really wasn't addressed.
Yeah.
It wasn't addressed because obviously shops can do whatever they want as long as nobody's getting hurt. But like, come back to the school and let's talk about what we seen, and we didn't do it.
Yeah. So discussion, were groomers ever actually taught behavior? I know I wasn't when I first started.
No,
There was
no, I
nothing.
wasn't.
And I didn't even see it like when I looked into schools, I didn't even really see it much in curriculums.
No, we were
So-
taught restraint, which
Yep.
we were taught restraint. Muzzle them,
Muzzle them.
hold your hands tight. Yeah, hold them tighter. In fact, the grooming school I attended, I didn't groom cats after grooming school because the way I was taught was, if you cut their skin, their, all their insides will fall out and they'll die, or they're going to bite you and it's going to get infected and you're going to die. There was like nobody really had any knowledge of cats or grooming cats. So they weren't teaching us.
Yeah. There was one
Teaching
place
us to be afraid, or they were teaching us you have to muzzle them. You have, and there's an organization that back in the day, now I don't really know. I think that they've come around and changed some of their stuff. But in the very beginning, they were all about just scruff them and muzzle, air muzzle them. And,
yeah.
and it's like, that's,
Now,
that's not really appropriate.
When I did, like I was self-taught, but then like I did some like checking out of different, did a stint at one school. I'm not going to name names just to try, it was when I was starting to learn how to teach. And there was one school that I was at where they were teaching cats how to do cat grooming. And I was like, I'll help. And I did help with the shaving. And then it went to the bath and they put it into a wire crate in the bathtub and just sprayed it. And I had to leave. I can't watch this. That cat
was fucking traumatized.
Traumatized. And then he got cage dried the whole time. And I felt really bad for that cat because he was there for a long time. There was dogs everywhere. It was loud. And then on top of that, getting like sprayed down like that through a cage. And I'm just like, this isn't how I want to groom cats.
No. So, and if this is how, then maybe this isn't for me.
Yeah. So what science says now, kind of current understanding, behavior is more of a communication, which is what a lot of my behavior things talk about is like, what is this telling? What are they trying to tell you? Because if you understand what they're trying to tell you, then you could probably fix it or like make it better for them without making it harder on you. So yeah. Stress changes learning. When they hit a certain point in stress, they can't learn anything.
Yep.
It's fight or flight. They can't learn. They can't make like decisions, like proper decisions. It's all instinctual once you hit that like fight or flight point. And, I say fight or flight, but there's also the fawn and freeze where they just kind of like, okay, I'll do what you want. Like, maybe you'll get
But
over.
you can usually tell with them too that they're stressed.
Yeah.
They're still stressed.
Cause and like, there's a difference between like, I'm nervous and I am stressed. Like it's one thing to keep going when they're a little nervous, but when they are to that point of stress, like you need to back off.
Right.
So fear also changes memory. So yeah, like the way that they're experiencing it is different than the way we just did. In general, the way that they're experiencing is very different than the way that they are experiencing it. You don't think about in those bathtubs, they're aluminum bathtubs.
the water hitting
the water
the
hitting
sound.
it. Yeah,
There's hearing, like especially with cats, their hearing is so acute that it's so amplified. Um, to us, it's like it's not a big deal, but to them, it's like,
yeah.
and we have to try to think what they're experiencing. Why?
Yeah, and scents too. Like I don't like to have a lot of really like heavy scented stuff,
Right.
because the dogs don't. Like they don't want that. I keep thinking,
Perfumey.
that perfumey smell on them. That's why they immediately go out and they roll in the mud. Like
If you're lucky,
yeah,
if you're lucky, they're just
we're
rolling.
rolling shit.
Yeah. I like that smell. Oh, that smell they like.
That's a good smell. Yeah.
Plus,
This is me.
and speaking from the witchy point of view, like we're having incense going right now while we do our podcast, and I would never burn an incense in my grooming salon while I'm grooming. I have burned incense in my salon while I'm doing my deep cleaning. When I have
when there's no other cats.
no cats are coming. I've got like the weekend, or I'm getting ready to take a trip. So I do a deep clean of the shop before I go. My room, it's not a shop. I'll have an incense going then. But I don't burn incense in my grooming room. I do have a diffuser. And occasionally I'll, put a couple of drops of like lavender in it. And if I know I've got some cats coming that are, highly stressed, I'll, try to put that to see if it helps. And, sometimes I think I see a difference, and sometimes I think maybe I just think I see a difference, right? Like maybe I'm seeing a difference. Maybe it has nothing to do with just the lavender at all. But yeah, that the scents definitely can
for me
play a role.
The biggest compliment I can get from people when they walk into my salon is it doesn't smell like anything.
It doesn't smell like dirty or wet dog.
But it's usually people will be like, it doesn't smell like anything in here.
Good.
And I'm like, good. That's exactly how I want it.
I don't want it to smell like bleach. I don't want it to smell perfumey. I don't want it to smell, musty. I want it to just smell.
I don't want it to be wet.
Right. I just want it to smell nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
So.
And repeated negative experiences compound. So that's something I remember hearing it in a seminar once about. I believe it was referred to as stress deck.
Yes.
And just how and it was specifically it was a cat seminar. I think it was Blake. I'm pretty sure it was Blake. And he was talking about, the owner just chased the cat around the house to get it into a kennel and put it in a kennel. So now the stress level, is here. Now we're in a car for, a 15, 20-minute drive. So now the stress level is here. Now they're coming into your salon and they're smelling all the other pets and whatnot. And they're, the stress. And it just keeps stacking. So they don't and especially with cats, they don't de-escalate. Like they need hours. So like for 5 minutes of stress, they need 5 hours, and that's just a number. But that's kind of like 5 minutes of stress, they need 5 hours to de-stress.
Yeah.
So imagine you're putting a cat through a stressful situation, because grooming is stressful to them. It's just not what they want to do for an hour with, in and everything you do, an hour. Now they need what? 10 hours to decompress. So they're not even good till the next day.
Yeah.
And it's fine. They still need to be groomed, but that's something you need to communicate with your owners. Yeah, he's probably going to be a little off for a day. And he might do a stressful thing. He's got to. I
always, especially with like puppies, because, they're learning and we make it as less stressful as possible. We do our best, but like they're learning a whole new thing. And that is, even if they aren't freaked out by any of it, it's still a lot of stimulation that they're not used to.
Yeah.
And puppies they don't have the stamina that other, adults do. And so I always make sure when I'm sending a puppy home to be like, just so you know, because it's the first time, especially, and he's a puppy, he's probably going to be really,
And ideally, you're seeing these puppies when they're puppies, right? For the first time, but they're not waiting till they're, 6 months to a year old to finally come to the groomer. Hopefully they're bringing them sooner, and you're able to do, just do a brush bath phase. Maybe trim right around the eyes if you need to, but otherwise, that's it. That's what we're doing. That's the puppy groom.
Yeah.
I love when salons are able to do that, to have like those activities, because that's you setting up that puppy for the rest of its life. And that's so important. If you get a puppy in, however old they are, and their first trip to the groomer is, we got to demat you or shame you because you're mad at it put you through this. And, unfortunately, if they're mad at it, you don't really have a choice, right? Like leaving them mad at is not really an option.
Yeah.
Um,
But like getting that done, that's
But
significantly more
that's
stressful.
significantly more stressful. And now that's something that dog is going to have to remember.
And especially with stuff like matting, they're going to connect that pain with grooming.
Right.
It wasn't that pain was because I was matted because my owners didn't brush me.
Right.
It was this
Right.
pain was
I wasn't
caused
right. I wasn't in
because
pain until
they don't have as much of that complex thought
they
process.
they do not. They do not.
So,
They're complex.
Um,
That's why you got to feed it into their owners.
yeah. That's also why I really harp on my students about having a routine that can do the same way every single time
to get them used to it.
Yeah, I can always tell because I am very meticulous with. I do it the same way every single time, and whenever my students end up taking a dog that I've been doing for a while, there's it's always a little bit more difficult.
Yeah,
because that dog's like, well, this isn't the way this is supposed to go.
Well, that's why at the school, when you have the dogs when we had dogs at the school, these dogs were never, well, I shouldn't say never, but there was always some struggles with the dogs.
Yeah.
Because
it was a constant.
We're students.
groomer.
We don't know what we're doing. So we're learning. And this dog is the guinea pig, basically.
And the dog can sense it.
And they can sense it. And we're all doing it a little bit differently. Some of us might have a lighter hold, some of us has a firmer hold, and it's just, yeah. And they never really get okay with it because it's always different.
Yeah, I always especially when they first start working with dogs because they're more nervous, they're always just like, I don't understand why he's being so difficult. The notes never said anything about this. And I'm like,
what's your definition of difficult? A student's definition of difficult may not be your definition or my definition.
There's that. But also it's like, I'm like, they can tell that you aren't confident. Even though I know that you are capable of doing this, you don't think you are.
Yeah.
So, and that's okay. And I'm like, that's okay. But the dog also knows that.
Yeah.
And so, it's always a little bit tricky when when they start working with dogs because they aren't always loving it.
Right.
So where am I? Energy at the table. The witchy part. Can animals read our energy?
I believe they can.
Yeah. I mean, we were just talking about it. Like they can sense it.
I believe they can.
The difference between my energy knowing exactly how I'm going to handle that dog and, my students' energy being like, even if they're, fairly confident themselves, they're still learning something new. So they don't have the confidence that I have.
Well, my energy is not always the same every day. It's just not.
I don't think anybody's is.
No, and it shouldn't be. We're constantly in change. We're constantly changing. Subtly. It's we get older, right? Every minute I'm aging, so I'm constantly changing, and it's the same for the pets. I think a little earlier it asked the question, the why he was good last time doesn't always matter.
Yeah,
because they're always changing too, and I don't know. Maybe today was a fight. And I'll usually ask my clients when they come back to pick up a cat and they, I make notes. I try to make notes all the time. And, he was a little spicy today. And I'll ask. And he changes at home because, she's a little crankier this time. She's like cranky. And sometimes it's just a matter of, what? And that's what I say. Sometimes it's just an old age thing. She's probably getting some arthritis. She's 10 now or she's, or older. But I always ask too, is there anything going on? And sometimes we just get company or we have work done in the house. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, well, we had work done. We have workers at the house. We fucking can't is climbing those walls. And now, and you decide today they got to come to the groom. So I tell my husbands all the time, the weather, when we had a lot of those storms, I reach out to my clients. How is he with storms? Because
I will do that too.
This is not home.
Yeah.
He might be chill and fine at home, but this is not home. Mm-hmm. So, and if he's not chill and fine at home, then definitely don't bring him here.
Yeah.
Because this is just going to make it worse. But so having those conversations with those about, how they are at home versus how they might be in stressful situations.
even sometimes like small changes at home can really throw a dog off.
It's a
So
litter box.
yeah.
Got some bugs.
Or a shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The neighbor got a cat. You know,
So how does intention change our handle?
my intention is always do no harm. Right? My intention is always to complete this room in the safest,
Comfortable.
most comfortable way I can. It's always my intention. Yeah, sometimes my energy isn't quite as where it should be. Like I've got one of those migraines that I get. I'm getting over a migraine, or it's Tuesday and I've never right out just whatever.
Yeah.
So even though my intentions are always good, they may not always match my energy. So it's very important for me to take the time I need to
Match your energy.
try to match my energy to my intention, right? Like if I need to take an extra time, extra moments of meditation, I need to, breathe in some incense or, whatever it is that I do to get myself grounded to do this safely for everybody. I need to make sure I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So that would be how it changes my game. And there's times when I just know that this is not going to be a good day for me to do it. I have no problem. I know I don't tell my clients, I'm just not feeling it today.
Yeah.
I will usually say I'm not feeling well.
Yeah.
And that's the blanket statement. They don't need to know if it's a physical or a mental wellness, but I'm not feeling well. And, because I know that I'm not in a good place to groom your cat, especially a fucking cat.
Yeah.
And I have no problem. And again, this is why I build in that flexibility in my schedule, because
then you can move things around.
I can move them around when I need to, because I know who I am, because of all the shadow work I've done.
Yeah.
I know who I am and I know what I'm capable of. I can't.
Yeah. The difference between calm energy and fake calm.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like if my energy or if my intention's not matching my energy, then I'm just faking it if I push through. Unless I take the time to get it regulated. And if I can't, then I need to think about, okay, is it going to be safe for me to proceed or not?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I can, sometimes the cats are the kind of cats that even if this cat gives me a little trouble today, it's not going to be a big deal. Or I can slow down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to get them in and out as quickly as I usually do. I can give myself a little more time.
Yeah.
But I never want to just fake the calm
and animals can feel when you're faking.
Oh yeah, they know. They know.
Humans, you can probably fake it around them pretty much easier, but with animals, they smell it.
They smell your fear.
They smell your fear.
Yeah, they do.
So yeah, with you were talking about grounding yourself, making sure that your intention is to keep yourself grounded so that you can be there for them.
Yeah. Breathing, presence, slowing down. We talked about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just taking that time to get ourselves where we need to be, however we do it.
Yeah. So reading the animal, changing our mindset is a big one. So instead of how do I make this dog stop? Ask what is this animal trying to tell me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I do that with my students a lot where, they'll say, oh, I see, because we always talk to the dogs. And so like the one actually, she'll be like, I see you licking your lips. And I'm like, so what is he telling you?
He's getting ready. He's getting ready to bite me.
And and really taking in the whole dog is important when you're trying to figure out what they're trying to tell you. Because that lip lick can mean very different things depending on the rest of the context.
Right. There's a lot of warnings. That's the thing. I mean, we still hear it, but people out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The dog bit out of nowhere. It's never out of nowhere.
Never
out of nowhere. You missed the signs, but it's never out of nowhere. Yeah. Dogs don't bite just for the sake of biting. Yeah. Although my mom's dog, there was definitely something.
Typically,
because he would turn on a dime, and we could never quite figure him out. But I honestly think he was so inbred that he wasn't right. Anyways, beyond poor Bandit, bless his little heart, they bite when they're in pain or when there's fear. Or they're, stressing with cats. It's
usually, a survival mechanism.
It's usually, fear or pain that pushes them into biting. So it's our responsibility as the person in the situation and the professional in the situation to be able to understand that, you know, when we see videos all the time, and no, and like I don't see them as much anymore, but like people will show a video of like a dog and a little kid. Usually it's a little kid with their arms wrapped around the dog's neck, and you can see the dog's, you know, all you see are the whites of his eyes, and you know,
Yeah.
and it, oh, isn't he cute? And you know, then people will analyze and see like, please, that baby's gonna get bit.
Mhm.
And then when the baby gets bit, and they're like, oh, he never did that. You know, he's always so good. And you know, it's no, we have no signs. Yeah,
There was lots of
there's
signs. I could
lots of
show
signs.
you through all of your
Right,
TikToks.
you just ignored them.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe because you did, and you're ignoring, then you know, then that's
Yeah.
anyways.
So
Whale eye, is that what that would be called? That whale
yeah.
eye? There we
Whale
go.
eye, paw lifting, freezing, growling, shaking off. Like all of these things are like they are getting close to the point of that fight or flight.
Yeah.
You know, and when they hit that it becomes pure instinct. Like
Yes. Yeah.
that dog did not wake up that day and go, I'm gonna bite my groomer
I
today.
think I
I think I might just bite my groomer today. Like, no, that dog woke up going, I'm gonna have a good day.
Yeah.
And then it was brought to you, and then you didn't listen to it
Right.
talking to you, you know, trying to tell you that it was stress.
Right. I like this.
Oh.
How many warnings do we accidentally ignore? And yeah, if it's how many of these things have we seen and we haven't given them attention?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I've been doing more like paying attention to even like not bad behaviors because I've been curious, and like especially I see it with Nibbler more as he's getting older. But like he does a lot of, I don't remember what they call it, but basically anytime he's having big feelings, displacement behaviors is what they call it. I never knew what it was,
Right.
but he always, and I could tell it was like I knew instinctually that he was having feeling. It's like when I get home and he's excited, he usually goes and he grabs either a sock or a toy, and he goes in a circle.
Yes.
And he'll pace around in a circle.
She runs to the bedroom. Like, we're not in there.
Yeah.
And then we got to call her multiple times for her to come out.
Yep.
And stuff.
And it's a displacement
Yeah.
behavior. They're having big feelings and they don't know like exactly how to deal with them.
Yeah.
So that is their way of emotionally regulating.
Yeah.
So it's him like trying to be like, okay, I know I shouldn't be like losing my shit over mom getting home, but like
I can't
I'm
help
really
losing my
excited.
shit over mom getting home.
but I can't jump all over her because I know that's really annoying. But you know, even just if you watch a dog, just thinking, why are they doing it for anything? Because they tell us so much. So you just got to be paying attention.
Yeah.
But I definitely have ignored some warning signals on.
I would bet we all have, and we may still do it. Like,
Yep.
Here's the thing. Like,
I will say, every time I have, I look back and I go, "Yeah, I'm a dumbass."
I've done it with cats. Like, I get bit, and I think, yeah, I knew.
Yep.
I knew this was going to happen. It's not a surprise.
Sometimes, just like you're like, "No, I
just
it.
got it. It's just one more nail."
And then you're like, I should have paid attention.
But I just should have let her go.
Yeah. I think every time I've had a bite, which I haven't had many, it's always been like, yeah, I deserve that.
Yeah. Why was my hand under her chin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do they always bite there? Because that's where your hand's sitting under their mouth. That's, you know, that's your own fault. Find a different way to do that.
I have a scar on the side of my pinky from a Samoyed, and my dumbass, like, it was just like there was a wet spot on the ear, and I was like, I'll just quick dry it off. Why did I not think of, I had it, like, no condenser or anything, but, like, why did I think it was a smart idea for a Samoyed to just, like, go, like, right next to its face with a blow dryer?
Yeah.
Like,
you can learn.
So, of course,
if we're lucky,
he didn't try to bite me. He tried to bite the dryer.
Right. Sure.
So, handling with compassion, not permissiveness. So, we still have to have boundaries. You know, we can't just let dogs do whatever they want.
Right.
Just like we can't let little kids do whatever they want.
Right.
You know, but boundaries also don't have to be, you know, hitting them.
Or you should never be hitting them.
Yeah.
Right. It should never be hitting.
Or
that's us. Yeah. That's on us. That's when you know you need to step away.
Yeah.
If that's what you're thinking, it's gonna make this better.
Yeah. Predictability being, you know, that's again, keeping in line with what I was talking about, like
The routine.
they predictability for them gives them a level of trust.
Yeah.
Like they're like, okay, well, I trust you to do it the same way every time then.
Yeah.
Like, and if you do that, then when things get off, yes, it'll throw them off, but they'll also be more willing to work with you.
Right.
Because they already trust you.
Right.
So
We've seen dogs that'll go through the whole process, and as soon as you grab their collar, they go mental, and you can't touch them after that.
Yeah.
Good luck if you get the collar on them. They're so excited to go home. They might be calm and cool the entire time, but as soon as you pull that collar out,
Yep.
they're done, and they know they're done. Like, I did my job.
Yep.
I'm done. Fuck you. No, you can't. You'll get the spot you missed.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
don't touch the collar until you are done.
we can also give them choices where possible.
Sure.
You know, if they want to lay down a little bit or sit down when you're
Yeah.
trying them or whatever,
Yeah.
like that, I'm very much a like, let them sit, let them lay down.
Yeah.
As long as they'll get up for the parts that I need them to get up for.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
then
where we have to be open to changing the way we do things
yeah.
to work with the animals. And it's not always easy. Like, I can't get down on the floor like I used to because it's just painful. I won't get back up. But I have found myself, okay, this cat has an aversion to the table. I'm gonna get down on the floor, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it's like the cat is just like, no, they have an aversion to the whole thing.
Yeah.
But sometimes it works. You know, if I can sit on the floor, then I can keep them in one spot and I can get them done on the floor. And yeah, it's painful getting up, but at least I was able to get the job done safely.
Yeah. So, and working with them instead of against.
Absolutely. Right. Be willing to change how we do things to work with them.
Yeah. I very much feel like every relationship, including relationships with the dogs, is very much compromise. You're never going to get everything your way when it comes to being like in any sort of relationship, whether it's, you know, dog and groomer or friends
Yep.
or, you know,
Yeah.
romantic, whatever.
Yeah.
You have to make some sort of compromises to each other. And so making compromises with the dogs, like, okay, you can sit down for most of the groom, but when I have to do your butt, we're going to stand back up.
Yeah.
That's a compromise.
Yeah.
And that gave the dog the ability to choose to sit down for when they can.
Yeah.
But it also gave you like, okay, now you have to stand up.
Yes.
And yes, you can't talk that out with the dog, but there are ways to communicate. So
Yes.
the spiritual side of consent. So talking about like giving them choices and stuff, consent-based grooming has become a very popular buzzword mostly.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people see it. And I do like, I won't do fear-based or the fear-free certification.
Yeah.
Not because I don't agree with what they do, but because I think it takes it too far.
I've never really looked into it that much to know.
It's very much, it's all about consent. You don't do anything without the dog basically.
Well, then you'll
agreeing
never
to-
get anything done.
Exactly.
It's some of these animals.
Yeah.
And that's not.
And I also
I
and
don't
like
believe
that's the
that's an
things I'm
option
like
either.
just the idea of being fear free, the word fear free certified, that I think gives people a different thought. Like
Like, if
shit
you're
about-
not fear free, you're doing fear. I don't.
yeah. Well, and just like I don't think you can be 100% fear free.
Well, not if you're going to get anything done.
Yeah. Like
Are you just sending all these animals home undone
yeah.
and getting paid for it? Because I want to not groom and get paid for grooming.
Can I just play with the dog?
Yeah. Yeah, please
Um,
sign me up. Yeah, I want to play with puppies all day. They get paid? Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, he didn't want to be groomed today. Give me my money.
Yeah. So it's about respecting another living being, you know, respecting them as what they are. Stewardship versus ownership. So stewardship is more of it's more of that like personal relationship. It's more on even ground versus like I am your owner, do what you want. Or do what I want kind of thing.
I like that. I like that because I think of that even with people with parenting. You know, like I'm from the generation, and maybe you are too, or your mother was. So maybe you heard this, but to do as I say.
Do as I say, not
Don't
as
ask
I do.
questions
Yeah.
because I said so. You know, this was something we were raised with, and some of us have pushed it on our kids. Now, I will say that I watched my daughter parent, and
There's never a I said so.
Yeah, she does not parent like I parented, and I'm in awe.
Yeah.
I'm in awe. But I'm also like, I see some things, like I see my granddaughter's behavior, and it's hard for me because, I wouldn't put up with it. But that doesn't make that the right approach either.
Yeah.
Like, but that's what I struggle with. Like, there's no way, I would put up with, I'd be smacking that ass, if my kids were punching me, I'd be smacking that ass, because that's the way I was raised and that's how I parented. But thankfully, I don't have to make that decision, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not my decision to make, and I don't have to make it. And I
you
can
just
and I
respect
can,
that
yep,
you're
and I can
the way
just,
your donor
I
does
can
it.
just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And you know what? And then when they get through the big, it's like,
Yeah.
like that, you know what? That's the way to do it. That's the way to
No,
do it.
like, people have their issues with gentle parenting, but gentle parenting, it's really just the long game. You are
Yeah.
building a relationship with the child, or in our case, with the dog.
You're also
You know?
building a relationship with those kids so that they know how to regulate themselves because the shit, and that's the thing. I'll see people in comment sections when they see shit like this, a gentle parenting, and they'll be like, you're raising them up to, think that they're going to get everything they want by just behaving like that. And it's like, no, actually just the opposite. They're actually raising them up to learn how to regulate their feelings and how to verbalize their feelings instead of hitting, instead of throwing,
Screaming,
instead of
yelling.
screaming, instead of, being rude to other people. That's
Yeah.
so, yeah. I don't know. Anyways, let's get off people. This is shit about people. This is not about people.
Yeah, but gentle parenting adults is also fine.
It is. Yeah, I need gentle parenting.
I love when I hear people tell a full-grown man, like, do we need to take a minute to let you have your feelings? Would you like to? Are you having big feelings, buddies?
This is a safe.
It's
You let it out. Yeah. It's clearly we need it.
So bringing it home, questions for our listeners. What behaviors have you misunderstood? I actually like talking about, like, Nibbler with his displacement behaviors. I never understood what that was. He also does what we call wallering, where he rolls on his back and does a little dance. You've probably seen him do it. It's we call it wallering, but that's also another displacement thing. He's just having big feelings, but he's got to get it out. That's a lot of dogs will shake it off, that you
I think
shake it
something
up.
that I misunderstood, and I think I've come to more of an understanding now, like stress signals with cats. Like, I remember some of the earlier seminars that I attended, and when they would talk about, like, cats that can't poop, that's normal. That's normal behavior. And then later, I started learning that that's not, and that, that's stress. Like you said, that's stress. Now, is that the kind of stress that you can't go past? I have cats that can't poop. I have one cat that she will 8 times. I swear to God, like she will. And I tell her, Mom, I'm giving her one bath.
Yep.
She shits after that bath. I'll wipe her down, but that's it.
Yeah.
And her mom's gets it. Like, we're not gonna.
I had a cat.
She will never get out on the fucking tub.
Yeah, I had a cat named Obama that I used to groom.
Yeah.
And he would pee every single time either on the way out or immediately getting into the bathtub.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he was never, like, showing any signs of stress.
Right. Sometimes that's the only, and that's again going back to, like, the stress stacking and stress signals, and like it was talking about, like, what do we ignore? Sometimes I don't think it's I'm ignoring it. I'm making a mental note of what's happening. It's just not, we're not to the point where we have to stop it. I had a cat that pants, not like a full on the whole panting, because I've had that happen too, and it's like, yeah, we're done. We're not doing this anymore. And now that cat comes, gets a quick shave, and goes home. 20 minutes is done.
Yeah.
But I've had some where all of a sudden it's like, is he panting? And like, well, panted.
Yeah.
Can't. But then you stop, and it's like, okay, let's watch him. Let's keep going. Then it's like all of a sudden you'll see him kind of go, and then it's done. It's like, okay, let's just get this done.
Yeah.
Because clearly he is stressed. He's not so stressed that we can't finish, but we need to be mindful, and we need to just get done. And maybe he's not getting a bath today just because, I don't want to push him to that point. But So it's not always just ignoring it. It's paying attention. And believe me, if there was panting and other things, we'd be done.
Yeah.
There would be no doubt
But
about
when
it.
it's just a
But it's like a
couple little pants.
yeah. Then I'm
Yeah.
just gonna keep an eye and see where we go.
Yeah. I have had some cats where they just do that sometimes. I mean, it's definitely some stress, but it's not like where I'm
Right.
like, oh, we have to stop because
Right.
he's panting. Because most
Right.
cats, I'm like panting, we're done.
Right. Exactly. When I
But yeah.
first learned that was like, oh, puppy, I seen his tongue. Send him home.
Yeah. So where were we? Final thoughts. Well, I'm gonna do
Oracle. Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
right.
do the oracle pull.
Okay.
So this one is forgive, may you let it be. The sea clears the mind and heart of resentments and guilt. It soothes the harsh ache of blame and absolves failure. In the water, the tenderness of human vulnerability cannot be concealed. Each wave recalls our ability to release and renew. May you find safe spaces to release anger, or displacement
I
behaviors.
need a break.
Uh-huh.
Shit.
May you allow that you did all you could with what you knew then. May you gently rewrite the stories that bring you pain. The mantra is in the water, I forgive, release, and renew.
That's actually fit very well with what
It does.
topic.
Yes.
It's very, very well with that topic.
So,
All right, final thoughts.
final thoughts. So, behavior isn't about controlling another being, it's about building understanding that communication becomes possible. Whether you're holding a grooming loop, offering your hand to a fearful dog, or simply
Sure.
sharing space with another living creature, every interaction is a relationship. So,
Agree. I
yeah.
concur.
All right. So, as above, so below, may your pets be clean and your spirit grow. Go. Bye.
Row.
Is it grow or glow?
Glow.
Glow. It says
Glow.
glow. Okay.